just tuning in, you are listening or watching UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network, and this is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. Hang on, guys, as usual, getting TikTok going here, and I can't start it until after we go live. Still can't walk and talk at the same time. I apologize. It'll take me one more second here. Close that. We will start Instagram. There we go. Add TikTok. I see someone's in the chat. Haven't got over to comments yet. Give me a sec here. Oh, hi, Connie. How are you? Welcome. I'm just going to add TikTok here. Give me one sec. Hopefully my voice will hold out. We are now officially going on 8+ weeks of this horrific bug that I don't know how I'm going to get rid of it. I'm back on antibiotics, so hopefully I won't be coughing. But anyways, welcome. Now I can get started. I centered here. Everything's backwards on the computer. So like I said, welcome. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. This is indeed the Angel Rock. We got a few people live here. I'm going to say hi to you in just a minute. Now, last week we had a guest planned, and unfortunately at the last minute she was not able to make it. I was too sick to do a show, so I put on a replay with her because it was Carmen Turner Shot, and she will be coming back on. Just right now things are a little crazy for her, but our guest tonight was supposed to be, I got to get myself better centered here, guys. Better hang on, I'll move over a bit. There we go. It's over in the UK, and she was unable to make it. And I said, I can't do that to you guys 2 weeks in a row, putting on a replay. And I love doing shows on my own anyway. So I thought, you know what? We're just going to have fun and talk. So a little bit, get into our intro here. I am, again, like I said, Lorilei Potvin. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, as well as a registered nurse. I am well-versed in near-death experiences, having had one myself as a toddler, as well as I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I am an animal communicator. I am also well-versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it. It found me. And we've shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9. I didn't name it. It's called Demonic Hauntings. And you can find that on YouTube. I think Netflix. There's all kinds of channels you can find it. But it's free on YouTube, and you can find it because I've shared the link many times with people. It's uploaded in a few places. So if you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and your family and people you know all about our network. It's been around for 25+ years. We are up to almost 40 hosts live on the network. So we stream multiple shows daily, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, to fill in the other rest of the hour, so we're actually live on this network 24 hours a day. The archive server kicks in and picks shows from the last 25+ years this network has been around. You give a huge shout out to Joe Montaldo, who started this network. He has many of his own shows here on the network, like UFO Undercover. I know he's got The Centralist. So check out some of his shows. We've got great hosts on this network, and it's not all just UFO paranormal stuff. We've got everything you can possibly think of. So please check it out. But 80% of our audience, and we do broadcast on this network to everywhere in the world, every country, is audio or listening only. So I always say, if you can't see us, you can't join in the fun, because we have great people here that are part of the conversation. And if you know about my show, The Angel Rock, as well as I do a second show that I started with a good friend of mine and fellow medium, David Hansel, on Thursday nights. It's called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed here on UPRN, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both of those shows are very audience participative. And I always say I could do a show or a recording by myself, but you guys are the ones that make this interesting and fun. I always tell my guests, because that's where I have the guests if I'm going to, is on the Angel Rock. And I always tell them we have the best audience. You guys are intelligent. You are kind. You ask the best questions. Never mind that when my brain fog kicks in from this, recently what I've been through in the last month, well, in January. And for those of you who don't know, my youngest son passed away very unexpectedly. And I have a wonderful, amazing memory, but it is it's just up and left me right now. So I'm just going with the flow. There's not much else I can do about it. It is coming back, but yeah, so if I repeat myself or I lose my way in the middle of a sentence, or even if I try to think of the name of something, all of you are so kind. Somebody will always have the answer and type it there. So I appreciate that from you guys. So if you want to join in the conversation, I'm going to tell you how you can do that. So you can go to my Facebook profile, which is under Lorilei Potvin. It's a public profile, so you guys can just join in the conversation. You don't have to send me a friend request. We are on the network's now main YouTube channel, at least now. Unless we ever get the other one back, we will see. That sort of up and left us with no warning. Too much to get into tonight, but we do have UFO gods and extraterrestrials on YouTube. We do have a third channel, which is now our backup channel, which is International Public Radio on YouTube. We're also streaming on my YouTube profile, which is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We're on the network Twitch channel, which is UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. We're on Instagram. I should pop in there and see if anybody's over there, because sometimes, nope, not yet. That's good. I have to pop back and forth between all these places. So on Instagram and TikTok, they don't integrate, that reminds me as I'm talking to you, they don't integrate the chat with the rest of the chat here, but I'm going to pull up the live page so I can see you guys over there. So I have to bounce back and forth between a bunch of pages while I'm talking to you so I can say hi to everyone. Anyways, Instagram sometimes kicks out after an hour. So if it does, sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. I keep realizing I got to go backwards here to my computer screen. Sorry, guys, as I'm moving around. Anyways, if it kicks out, I always say head over to YouTube. It's usually the most stable, and it goes the full 2 hours. So again, on YouTube, either The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin or UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. We're streaming on Rumble under Mystique 1508. And as I always say, not a stripper name. It's an old channel of mine that was, the name was taken from X-Men. And where else are we? Did I forget? Oh, we're also, if you guys want to watch us on TV, you can. The network has a TV channel. We have a Roku channel, and we're streaming on that tonight. And how you can find that is you're going to go to the channel store in Roku, type in UFO space P as in paranormal, and type that in. And there's a drop-down list. We're about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO, Paranormal, and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us on TV. I also think I'd seen with Michelle DeRoche, who has the Outer Realm on Thursday nights with her co-host Amelia Pisano on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I think I'd seen on one of her advertisements also on Alexa. So you might try that. I don't know. I haven't checked it out. And lastly, we are indeed streaming on TikTok. Sometimes Michelle Wilfong's here. Sometimes she's not, but she is one of my mods over there. She's fantastic. She does an incredible job on TikTok, and I want to thank her because she's got a great channel of her own. I'm going to say hi to everybody there. I'm going to say hi, everyone. Hang on. Welcome. And check out her TikTok channel. It's under Michelle Wilfong. She lives in a haunted apartment, and she posts some pretty interesting videos over there. So I'm going to say hi. I think I remembered everything. Let me check my check off list. Yes, I did. Good. Like I said, with my memory the way it is right now, sometimes I need a little bit of a memory thing, and I do this all from the top of my, you know what I mean, memorize. So I always have a little checklist to remind me so don't forget anything. I do have 2 groups on Facebook I'll let you know about. I have the Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual, Paranormal University for more things paranormal. And I'm going to try and get a little bit more active in both of those groups. Mainly people just share and post. But if you guys ever have any questions about either one of those topics, feel free to post or send me. There are questions, security questions or whatever you call them for Facebook. It's just because both groups are private, and I want people to have a safe space to feel that they can ask questions or interact without it being open to the public. So that's how kind of helps us weed out people maybe that aren't supposed to be there or bots. We also have a group that I started for the Thursday night show, and it is called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hansel. And we show a lot of video clips on that Thursday night show. And if you're listening, it's hard for you guys. We do try to remind you and let you know where the videos are from and what it's about. But if you want to watch them, I always post everything after the show in the group too. So check that out. And yeah, Julie, you just added it. You were reading my mind. So let's say hi here. We've got, like I said, Connie Martins. We've got Julie Jean Bassett, and everybody's saying hi. Julie, you say, let me know if you want me to send you some energy healing. My stepmom was just under the weather too, and it helped her. Just let me know. Absolutely, I will not say no to that. So thank you, Julie. I appreciate the offer. This has been over 8 weeks of this, and they put me on the same antibiotic I was on about 3 weeks ago, and my voice got better, and then it came back. So if it doesn't settle down, I guess I'm going to have to bow down and go get all the tests that they ordered. I'm hoping this just might help. We'll see. And yeah, I'm hoping Facebook is working here. Most people that pop in on Facebook, I should check that while we're talking, because we usually have more people here than this. So let me see. Maybe everybody thinks we're doing replays because I had to do one last week on for replay. I was also asked to be on a podcast. No, it says I'm live, so we'll just see. Maybe people pop in late. And I said no to it because it was at 10 o'clock at night. Because like I said, I put a replay on, and a lot of you hadn't seen it. A lot of you are newer. So there's a lot of comments on it. People seem to enjoy it. Carmen's always awesome. She's written so many books, and oh, here we go. Now I see people here that are popping in. I was just checking Facebook. I see Joanna Garfey McNally. Feel better, thank you. Mark Foster says hello, stranger. Hello, Heather Donlanovich. Hi, Lorilei. You sound better. Mark Foster. Feel better. Well, you guys just popped in late. I just said I'm on antibiotics again for the second time, and I don't know if my voice is going to hold out. We are going on 8+ weeks of this. And I don't know if I guys have told you this, but I found out when my son passed away, actually, and I was pretty sure that's what had caused his unexpected passing in January. And indeed, it was confirmed that it was what we have. So I don't know what it is. My partner, we all came down with it at the same time, which is very rare. Usually somebody brings something home, and even though the whole family might be exposed, somebody might come down with it a little bit later, and somebody else. No, we all woke up 8 weeks ago on a Sunday morning, sicker than a dog. Thank you, Julie. She says, I will send a mini healing session after the show. I also want to give Julie Jean Bassett a shout out. She is incredible. I forget who I was talking to about you today. I might have mentioned you on the podcast I was on yesterday, Julie. I think I did. But you guys, you got to check her out. She's incredible. She's not only an animal communicator, and I've taken her animal communication course. She's also a pet medium, and she's helped me with my own animals quite a bit. And she is incredible. She always blows me away with the knowledge that she has in the way of healing and what animals, she always works so wonderfully with animals, asking, what do you need? How can I help? And even a lot of the behavioral issues that a lot of us have with animals. And you can try everything under the sun, and a lot of times it doesn't work. And I am telling you from my own personal experience that Julie has helped with my own animals. So please check her out, as well as she's an incredible shamanic practitioner. I had a life-changing session with her about 6 months ago. I will be looking into booking another one with her soon, because I'm telling you guys, this lady, the whole world, as far as I'm concerned, needs to hear about her. And I'm not talking to the whole world, but there's been people in the chat that also add, their positive experiences they've had with Julie. So please check her out at juliejeanbassett.com. Mark Foster, you're on an antibiotic. Yes, I broke down and took it. It's not super strong though, and it's in the States you guys say Z. In Canada we say Z. So it's a Z or Z pack, and it's only 5 days, and it's the lowest dose. So it did start to help 3 weeks ago, but it wasn't long enough. So I don't expect, well, I hope it will work. We will see. We will see. So I was going through and made a few notes, and I posted this actually earlier in the day today. Let me grab my notes here. And, I've been really looking, we don't have to talk about this all night, but I thought it was kind of an interesting topic to open with, because I'm sure you guys have all seen this yourself, that, what's happening out there. Yeah, it's quiet on here tonight, you guys. Even being live on TikTok, Instagram's quiet too. Yeah, I think I do need a different antibiotic, Julie. So I follow all kinds of different topics, I go on quite a few different podcasts when I'm asked, and a lot of times I don't have a clue what we're going to talk about. I didn't know. I was on Robert D. Morningside's podcast yesterday afternoon. He is on. Let me check the name of this. I don't want to screw it up. The name of here. Let me. I know I had the. Of course, it opened in. Sorry, it opened YouTube on me. I was on there at 3 p.m. yesterday, and we had a 2-hour interview. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, and he ended up wanting to know quite a few things about. Give me 1 sec. I can't walk and talk at the same time right now. Morning Side. I think it's called the Morningside. It's not Report. It's Rapport, and I'm looking for the name of the radio station. Give me the name. Of course, it's not going to give me the radio station. I will find it. It'll come back to me. And we ended up talking a lot about the paranormal. But I also follow true crime. I also follow even what's going on in celebrity news. I'm not a fan of anybody. I rarely watch movies. Hi, Lisa Martinello. Welcome. And I like to just stay on top of kind of what currently is going on. And I came across this journalist. I'm not going to do her name justice. I think she says Kirsty, but it's actually spelled Kjersti. So she says to everyone, just call her Kirsty. She is from Sweden, and she's a Hollywood journalist. And if any of you have followed this fiasco with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds right now, and Justin Baldoni, the reason why I've been so interested in it is because of power imbalances and the way people treat other people. And this Kirsty, boy, has she been through it. I just watched some videos before we went live about the fact that what it takes to become part of the Hollywood foreign press associated with Golden Globes. I had no idea about this. You guys check her out. Her channel on YouTube is called Flossom, Flaasom. And she's been a Hollywood journalist along with her partner, Magnus, who is also a photographer from Sweden. But the thing that's so interesting, and she's really fair. I think she's very, very fair. She's she'll show bits and clips of famous people she's interviewed and talk about her experience. And she blew up recently in this fiasco with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and she had nothing to do with the case. She just had the most horrific experience with Blake Lively and Parker Posey when she interviewed them. Anyway, she's now been pulled into the lawsuit. They're saying she was paid to do this. She wasn't, and I believe that she wasn't. But she was, I think it was maybe yesterday's video, or it was from a couple of days ago, and she was sort of talking about, it doesn't take any more energy to be nice, even if you're having a bad day. And I don't think I've ever been more aware of that. And I was made aware of it in third year university in nursing. I was running late. I was late to my class, and I was upset about something. I don't even know what it was, but I knew better than to walk in and act like I was angry or something. So I sat down very quietly, and I remember my professor stopping the class and saying to me, Lorilei, when you're in a good mood, it affects the whole class, but when you're in a bad mood, it also affects the whole class. And I'm sure you could have picked my jaw up off of my desk, because I was so shocked when she said that. I couldn't figure out how she would know how I was feeling. And I've never forgotten that. I also know that, yes, I do have that ability to affect people by the way I feel or the energy that I put out there. And many of us do. A lot of people, whether you consider yourself intuitive or not, will know when you walk into a room and there's just been a huge argument or something's been going on, you can feel this, right? We can feel energy, whether we want to or not, we can feel it. Connie, you say it's hard to believe anything that happens in Hollywood. I swear they are different breeds of humans. Before I get into this topic, what's very interesting, Candace Owens has just announced her latest, I want to say, quarry. She is actually going after Hollywood and the news. So I cannot wait for what she unearths, because that girl is like a dog with a bone when she gets onto something. Back to what I was sitting with Spirit earlier saying, okay, what are we going to talk about tonight? And it was a quote The Rock had made, Dwayne Johnson, in an interview. And it was so cool. And I'm sure many of you might have heard of it before. But what he said is, it's not hard to be nice. Sorry, this was one quote that was in it, not from The Rock. Basically, it's not hard to be nice even when you're having a bad day. That was from Kirsty. But what he said is, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And I thought, how important is that, right? Like, we know, when we try to give people, hold the space and give people grace that are really nasty to us, like we don't know them, maybe it's a sales clerk or it's whomever. And, at least I know I try to do that with, well, maybe they're having a bad day. But I think there's real merit in the fact that, and I know especially as a nurse, I'm sure police officers are told the same, um, firefighters, whomever that have, say, a very difficult job, especially working with people, that you keep home at home and work at work, right? But the other thing is, it's doesn't make sense to me if you're having a nasty day and you're in a really bad mood that you take that out on everyone else. You may not be able to mask that energy, but to go out of your way to be nasty because you're feeling nasty. You see where I'm going with that? Like Julie said, it should be interesting about Candace Owens. And then she said, yes, it's huge to be nice. And it is. And what really got me thinking this weekend, too, is about power imbalances. And again, I go back to this case with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, right? Now, again, I'm not going to be negative about what she's put out there. I think most of us are intelligent to see what's happened with this, and the fact that her, I don't know if they're still friends or not, but Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, apparently, for those of you who may not know who she is, she's apparently from Gossip Girl, never seen the show. She met Ryan Reynolds when they were doing Green Lantern and got married. They have 4 children together. But it's been very telling because, you know what, if the internet sleuths get onto stuff, the things they have unearthed. Like, I think she was speaking at a Glamour magazine, Women of the Year, or it was something to do with that. It was one of these bigger press events. And she was a featured speaker. And she was talking about, her words, not mine, that she gets hired as an actress to look pretty and repeat her lines and stand on a pink cross on the floor. But she has to have authorship. So basically, she said, some people haven't minded my expertise, where others have felt it's a real rug pull. Well, and then somebody else had put this into perspective, and I thought, yeah, they're right. I think it was BJ. It's called That Surprise Witness. She's a lawyer that looks at this kind of stuff. She made a lot of sense. And can any of you imagine, any of us in our muggle jobs, ordinary people, say we get hired as a bus person in a restaurant? Nothing wrong with that job, right? You're doing an honest day's work and it's hard work. But you then walk up to your manager, the owner of the restaurant, a month later and say, you know what, I'm not really feeling fulfilled. I need authorship. I'm going to take over your job and not expect any repercussions. You see where I'm going with this power imbalance? And I'm almost, having some conversations with Spirit about this, that it's almost like we're into the seedy underbelly of the power dynamic and it's being exposed and pulled to the surface. It's like all this negativity and stuff that's been hidden is starting to come to the light, if you will. And I don't think it's karma. I don't think it's punishment. It's just that it's been hidden in the shadows for so long. And we see this and we've known about this for so long, not just Holly Weird, as you said, Connie, but in many, many different places, people that are in a place of power seem to, not always, but we see it a lot. If you've got a lot of money or you know a lot of quote unquote important people, you have power. And it's very interesting to see what people do with that power. And I'm going to be honest, and I don't think I'm in the minority here. I'm going to use this movie again. I've never seen it. It starts with us. I haven't read the book. But it's very obvious that Blake Lively decided she needed authorship and chose Justin Baldoni, who I'd never heard of in my life before this movie or all of this. And at his own movie premiere, never mind, he bought the rights to the book 5 years before. He was the director. He was the one running the whole show. And she brought her husband in to write part of the script. And at the premiere, made him stay in the basement with his family. This was his directorial debut. And then when he had the nerve to stand up and say, hey, this isn't right, um, she pulled the SA card out. And to me, you know what? I think this is going to change things in many ways. And I almost feel that that's why this is happening, these power imbalances. I think if you guys have been fans of the show or the Thursday night show, you've heard me say many times, nobody is any better than anybody else, right? And even when we're being nice to people, I think we really have to search our hearts and look at, why am I being nice? Am I being nice because I want to be in service to others from a place of love? Or am I doing this so I can tell everybody how wonderful I am and look what I did, and receive all the praise and accolades, right? And again, I'm not saying one is right or the other, but it really, really struck me that, it doesn't cost much to be nice. And I'm going to tell you too, going through, and don't get me wrong, I've worked in palliative care. I have worked in death and dying for years. I've had other family members pass away, but I can definitely tell you that what I have been through in the last five weeks, for example, it is certainly a study in the human condition, even when we're talking about death. And I have said since day one, and probably even before this, that you can't talk about life without talking about death, because none of us are getting out of here alive. But I can tell you that, and I've held the space for these people, and haven't said anything, but it's very easy to see, again, a study in the human condition I want to, again, giving people grace, and much praise. By the way, I wanted to thank everybody for the beautiful, kind messages people have sent. And it's not everybody, but it's it's interesting stepping back and take, if I can even try and be objective from where people are coming from with some of the messages I've received. And I don't have a, like I say, I appreciate that people were thinking of us. I really, really do. I don't want to see this as seem ungrateful. And it's just an interesting study in the human condition about how people react to a death. And the thing is, too, though, right? Death is scary to most people as human beings because we don't know what awaits us. We don't know what happens. Some of us do, but a lot of us don't. So I don't blame people, but it's just interesting. I'll say that. I'm going to go through some of the comments here. Let me see. We've got Julie. I think it was the last one I stopped with here. Yeah, you said it's huge to be nice. Connie Martins, being nice to someone has to be genuine. I love what you just said here too, Connie. Being nice to someone has to be genuine, not because you need something from them. Yes, I can definitely tell you, when I got married and my in-laws would do something from out of love or the kindness of their hearts, for the longest time I kept saying to my first husband, what's the strings attached? Because with my family, there was always strings attached. If something was done for you, you may not hear about it till 10 years later, but you better know there's a string attached with it. So it was a very foreign concept to me very early in many years ago. So, and Julie says, yes, I agree. Heather's saying, I see that in my industry as well. Absolutely. Never mind that we get into jobs that are typically, whether they're female versus male, all male, and the opposite sex comes in. And I'm sorry, ladies, women are the worst to other women, especially. And it doesn't matter what industry we're in, there is a huge power imbalance and dynamic. And I'm not saying I have the answers to this, except that I will tell you this: document everything. And again, I keep bringing this case up because I think there's a lot to be learned from it. Justin Baldoni, God bless him, because he documented everything. He saved every text message. She tried to claim that he essayed her in a movie clip from the movie that was supposed to not have the dialogue there. He had the raw dialogue. And I've always believed that document it. You don't have to write a novel, but always document. It doesn't matter who you speak to. And don't get me wrong, I don't take notes on everybody, but what I'm saying is if you made a phone call about something and it's important that you may have to recall the info later, write down who you spoke to, what time and the date, and just a quick blurb about who you spoke to. Believe me, it will serve you well in the future. And I don't come from a place of fear or negativity. You might not never need it, but I'm telling you, it works very, very, very well. Hang on, I'm going to go up a little higher here. Hi, Kevin. We got Sea Sun Dragon here. Um, and Julie says, agree, we are all one. At least we are supposed to be. Yes, and I've never understood this because we are 50% of the population as women. And we are terrible to one another. Now, I have found as I've gotten older, things have changed for the better. Now, maybe it's because the people I'm around are older, wiser, and more experienced. But holy cow, growing up, and for the longest time, most of them, and I guess today, to this day, most of my inner circle is very, very, very small. But I always would hang around with gentlemen, and I'm going to say that because I'm sorry, guys. If you guys got a problem, and at least in my experience, you know what? You have to settle it the way you have to settle it, and it's over and it's done with, and it's done. It's let go. And even again, I'm going to go back to when I started the show here with this Kirsty Flaw from that YouTube channel, Flossom. I didn't know about this. Like I said, I don't follow all this stuff in Hollywood. I'm not a big fangirl or anything like that. But it caught my eye, this case, because I think this is going to be very groundbreaking, as was a Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. And still, people don't see eye to eye on it, and it's okay. We're all entitled to have an opinion. I think we need to hear each other out. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But my point is, I think a lot of things changed, and a lot of things did change. I think especially for men after that case. And again, and I'm going to say this, I'm not trying to be opinionated, but I have a real problem with especially women that cry SA. And I can't see the words on YouTube. That's why I'm using the initials. And then it gets proven that none of the sort happened, because I do believe in karma, and I don't think karma is a punishment thing per se. If we break it all down to energy, and everything is energy, and the laws of energy, you've heard me say many times, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can certainly be moved or transferred from one place to another, right? Eventually, what you put out there, the energy that you put out will come back to you. It doesn't matter if you start getting into the principles of magic even, things like that. And I just keep thinking, I hope I live long enough to see that day. Maybe it might not come for another couple decades, but where I'm going with this is, if we could just really start to recognize that we all are part of one another. Some of the people that irk us the most, some of the people that, just rub us the wrong way. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but to give myself sometimes the time to step away. And I don't have a lot of people like that in my life, but to look at it, because if we look at ourselves as a lightning rod or even a transistor radio, and the frequency and energy you are putting out there, right? The radio signal, that's the signal that you're going to pick up. Those are the people that are going to come to you. So what I'm saying is, you say somebody's enemy or somebody that rubs you the wrong way. No, I'm not saying you're necessarily drawing them to you, but I like to look at it as it's kind of a mirror from the universe. So I have to really sit with myself and think, what is it about this person that may be irritating me or rubbing me the wrong way, that it's a lesson for myself. So in a way, it is like that radio frequency, right? Because the universe is showing me, hey, this is something, it's rubbing you the wrong way, but maybe this is something I don't like about myself. Maybe it's something I need to work on. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But I definitely like to believe that. So where are we? Connie said, I was just going to say that I preferred working with males. Females could be so nasty to each other. 100%, Connie. I almost left nursing. I know now, I laugh, but I actually applied to the RCMP. I went through everything. They were on a hiring freeze. I got the letter here still somewhere. I passed everything, and they were on a hiring freeze. This is how far back this was with the first Gulf War. And they asked me to come back in 6 months again. They were on a hiring freeze. And I ended up meeting my first husband in that time period and never went back. And the reason why I loved what I did, I hurt my back on this job, but was working out in the community, because I kind of felt like I could finally be fulfilled for the reason why I chose to be a nurse. There was none of the politics, there was none of anything except that I got to spend my day and my time with patients. And it was anything from critical care things I was helping set up or develop to, I felt very, very fulfilled by palliative care and death and dying in the home. I only went into my office every 2 weeks. I only saw the people I wanted to see, and it was a completely different atmosphere. And that's the problem. I don't know why we do this to ourselves, right? I'm always of the mind too that sometimes you can't avoid it. But when you're around toxic people, to be able to try and spend the least amount of time possible with them, right? Because that's all we can do sometimes. Sometimes it's family, friends. And I've had this conversation with quite a few people, and we'll be covering this in the course that my friend Leanne and I are working. And I'm hoping we're going to be having it out there around the end of May. But sometimes when you start following this spiritual journey, and you'll hear people around you say, "What's happened to you? You've changed. You're nothing like who I knew you were." And I don't want to make this sound elitist, but as you start to raise your vibration and frequency or energy, right, you're no longer maybe a match for the people that you had around you before you first began this journey. And sometimes you have to sit down and take a relationship evaluation, right? Because a lot of us sometimes have a lot of toxic people in our life, but we just continue on with it because maybe we've had these people in our lives forever as friends, even family. I would never tell somebody to cut a family member out of their life. That's something you have to do. But I can tell you for myself, had I not made the choices that I did well over 20 years ago, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. And I know it was the right choice for myself. So Julie says, I agree. Same with kids crying ABUSE when on the parents when they are disciplined. Yes. And the bad thing is that people don't realize that we can go back to that old story, the boy who cried wolf. Eventually, people are going to find out the truth. I truly believe that the truth always rises to the surface. A light will always be shone on it. Maybe not right away, but eventually it's going to come out. So not only have you hurt the people around you when you use something like this, you really hurt the people that are real victims of these type of things by making up stories that aren't true. That's what irks me. That's what makes me upset, including, when false SA has been, and I know it can happen to men too, so please don't think I'm just saying it can happen to women, but I have seen this, and again, you see these more public cases where a light has been shone on it, that I didn't get my way. I didn't get what I wanted, so I'm going to cry SA. And, especially with the Me Too movement, which I agree did need to happen in some way, but it almost swung too far to the left. I don't think that we need to, that everybody was painted with the brush, believe all women. Yes, we should believe everybody when they tell us something horrible has happened to them, but listen and hear them, and hear both sides of the story. There's the old saying, right? There's three versions of the truth. There's my version, their version, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And again, it's not our job to judge, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect either. But where I'm going with this is, so when I'm using a case that's very public like this to talk about, I think there's a lot that we can learn from it. Because, and again, just my opinion, but this seems very, very clear that the power dynamic didn't shift in the way it was supposed to for one party. So instead, we pull out the back pocket card that maybe would have worked maybe 7, 8 years ago, but people have become smarter to this, right? They've become aware of this, and people have really, really woken up and realized, hey, we need all the facts here. And again, nobody, there is the court of public opinion, whether we want to say there is or there isn't, there is. And I'm kind of glad in a way, like I said, that a light is being shone on this, because it costs nothing to be nice to others. It's just as much, what do they say, use many less muscles to smile than you do to frown or look angry. And I really do try to be kind to other people. I'm not always perfect at it, but I really, really do, because you don't know what that other person has gone through. I think it was my dad that taught me this years ago as a little kid, and I still remember him saying to me, "Walk a mile in their shoes, Lore." And I think I was about 5 or 6 and said, "Dad, what does that mean?" And when he explained it to me, I don't think I ever forgot it, because we don't know what happened. That's why I said, if someone is nasty, say it's a sales clerk or something, I like to try to give them the benefit of the doubt, that maybe they have had a crappy day. Maybe something really awful happened to them, but they still needed to come to work, right? If my city's small enough, though, that sometimes you do run into the same people numerous times, and when they're always like that, that's a different story. I will go out of my way to speak to a manager, and they always walk up with their arms crossed, and it's like, "Oh, what are you going to tell me now?" And I'll say, "Hey, you've got a great employee here. They just bent over backwards. They did all these wonderful things. Then their eyes open wide, and they look in shock for about 5 seconds, and then they smile, and they all say the same thing. We never ever hear about the good. It's always just a complaint." So I don't do it very often, but I have. If I've been to a store and there's been somebody that's been really nasty every time I've been in there, or there's other people that, I mean, like, I don't live in a small town, but it's only 110, 120,000 people in Thunder Bay. You're going to run into the same people. I've lived here almost my whole life where I live. And I'm not going up to a manager being negative and rude and awful. I'm just pointing out the facts. And the other thing I keep thinking is, maybe this isn't the job for them to be in. Not everybody's meant to work with people, right? Some people aren't. And working with people is hard. And Connie, you would look cool, so cool as an RCMP officer, maybe, but can you imagine me as a cop? So I think I have pictures, because a friend of mine from high school was an RCMP officer in Toronto. I think back in the day, years and years ago, uh, a friend of mine that was my best friend, my maid of honor and everything, we'd kind of grown apart. And actually, over the loss of my son, we've sort of pulled it all together. And nothing ever happened. We never had a fight. Just life kind of happened. Anyways, I went with her, and everybody used to call us the Trouble Twins. We weren't bad. She was as blonde as my hair was dark, bright blue eyes. I had brown hair, both tall. Got along great, living together. Like, had so much fun. So I think we took her car and we drove down to Southern Ontario from here. And so, of course, I was a lot more, I don't want to say wilder, more gregarious, maybe. I remember making up signs for the car, and it was saying Trouble Twins Travel Tour. I can't remember the year. I even had got us made at the time hot pink t-shirts that said Trouble Twin on the back, and number 1 and number 2, my friend. Anyways, we went to visit him, and I think we have pictures if I go through old albums. I wasn't in the whole uniform, but I think I had the hat on. And Julie says, yes, it irks me too. And then Lisa Martinello, you said, people often forget the golden rule. You do, but you know what, with working with people, and maybe it's just myself, and I think when I first realized this, it took a long time, is people, when we're having a hard time in particular, right, we feel so alone and by ourselves, and that nobody else knows what I'm feeling, which is true. But say, let's use a common topic, money worries, and what we're going through and what we're struggling with, and how are we going to pay these bills next month, or so on and so forth, or relationship issues, or whatever that might be. And when I know with working with others that topic comes up, and I don't say to somebody, well, everybody feels this way when they go through that. That's not what I'm saying. But even especially where I know I've brought it up is when we are our own worst critic. The inner voice and the way we speak to ourselves in our head, nobody would probably ever speak to us unless they had a heart of stone and were a psychopathic sociopath, right? Some of the things we say to ourselves. And if the conversation goes that way and you say to them, you do realize that other people also speak this awful to themselves or have felt this way. And again, I'm not using a really great example, but it becomes very surprising as it did to me that, oh my gosh, especially somebody that we tend to put up on a pedestal, that, again, a public figure. Hi, Michelle Wilfong. I was talking about you earlier over on about TikTok. Please don't feel like you have to go there. I don't think it's, well, people are popping in. We got a few. Andy Panda, Misha joined in. Welcome. Feel free to leave some comments or questions over here on TikTok if you like. Hi, Irene. We got Irene Falvo Maidman over on Instagram popped in. So, you love that, do you, Kevin, the Trouble Twins travel tour? Well, I know I went out with this friend for lunch the week after my son passed away. And my eldest, he'd never done this before, but he was off for the day. He had gotten a memorial tattoo for his brother. And he called me and I just said, I'm out with my friend and he knows who they are. And he said, can I join you? Sure, come and join us. So we had a great time because she hadn't really gotten to know my eldest son he's going to be 30 in July. And then he brought up something from our past. And my friend looked in abject horror. She goes, how does he know about that? And my eldest son said, oh yeah, mom's told me all kinds of stuff. And my friend looked at me. She said, I've never told my kids that. And I said, well, no, I'm not telling them everything or inappropriate. I said, sometimes it was a teachable moment. Sometimes it was just funny. So that was pretty hilarious about that. But I'm pretty open with my eldest son, not inappropriately and still from a mother role. But if there was something to be learned from, say, maybe something I did or a mistake as a young kid, I'm not perfect. I would share with my son what my experience was in the appropriate moment. So I don't know. I just thought I would start with this today and checked in with Spirit about this, that, it really doesn't cost anything to be nice to one another. And again, looking at this whole big picture of what's going on globally in the world, and I guess it depends on how you look at it, if the glass is half full or half empty. Nonetheless, I get the feeling that a lot of things that have been hidden in the shadow or power imbalances or things like this are having a light shone on them, because I really do believe humanity is waking up. And and again, then we get real woo-woo, as I call it, but if we are going to be ascending, right, to a different type of energy, as I said, that I noticed the light went to a different color, no idea why on the screen, but I think these things have to come to light. And we need to look at it and not judge, but learn from it, right? So, Julie, you're laughing, are you, that I told my kid about these things? Yes, I was usually the life of the party. Hello, Michelle Wilfong. Michelle Wilfong is now over on TikTok. I'm going to give her a shout out again. She is one of my moderators over here on TikTok and my main moderator, and I appreciate everything she does. So you guys, please check out her TikTok channel. She lives in a haunted apartment and posts quite a few videos of the crazy activity in her place, and I appreciate what she does over here because she does such a great job. Also, where are we here? Hi, Woo Rider CG. Hello from Northeast Florida. Oh, I love it. Love it. Love it. The reason why I say that, you can ask Kevin and Heather, Connie. I'm trying to think who else is in the chat. Lisa, that are Canadians over here. We got Americans. We got people from all over the world here. But I'm thinking, especially in Ontario, I can only speak for in Canada, we have had one heck of a winter. Now, my German Shepherd, Emmy, who is at the end of the bed there, as always, I go by her coat. And I don't know why she does this in the spring, in the fall, like end of summer, fall, she'll have a big shed and her winter coat comes in. And then when spring comes, which makes sense, she's going to shed the winter coat and get ready for summer. She is already shedding. I was just telling my partner Del this today. Holy cow, are we going to have spring really early this year or something? Because it's not a skin problem. It's nothing like that. When it starts, she's got that thick undercoat. So when it starts coming out in clumps, you know. So, and it's raining today, which I can't believe. We had rain on Christmas Day here where I live. We've never had that. The weather's crazy. So, Northeast Florida, let us know what's it like over in Northeast Florida, woo riders. So, I'm envying you your warm weather. My bestie Leanne is in Atlanta, Georgia, and she said that spring was coming. She mentioned, I think on the weekend. So, maybe we're going to have an early spring than what we normally do. Now, I don't know. I don't think Mish is here. She's usually here, drops in from Australia. And then I always got to tease her that she's talking to us from the future because they're 12, 13 hours ahead of us where I am. I'll have to ask her what it's like over in Australia if she gets a chance to pop in, or anybody else, or wherever you are. Let us know how your weather is over there. And then I thought, let's talk about some spooky stuff finally. Before I do, though, and I always forget to do this, I need to do the station ID. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening to or watching live the Angel Rock with myself, Lorilei Potvin. And you can listen to us on 105.3 FM out of Mississippi, or 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And you guys also stay tuned in the next hour after me. We have the Light Gate coming up. No, I don't want to undo my typing. With Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. I love them. They always have a great show. And they're up at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on UPRN. So Connie, so let's see. Julie says she's in the States. It's warming up here too, thank goodness. And Connie says the weather has changed a lot in the last few years. I think we are getting rain this week. I feel spring is around the corner. And I know that Southern Ontario got a huge jump of snow. Now, of course, where I live, for people that probably have never heard of Thunder Bay, not that I would expect you to, unless you watched the David Letterman show. Paul Schaefer is from Thunder Bay. So is Kevin Durant. He's an actor, a lot of action movies and things like that. So we live about 40 minutes away from the Minnesota border. I forget who had posted something in I think it was in the Thunder Bay Reddit, and they had called Minnesota, what did they call it? The 13th province or something. And I was laughing because obviously Minnesota's in the US, but we're about 40 minutes away from the Minnesota border. And we are about 6.5 hours north of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that gives you an idea. We're right on the shores of Lake Superior. So we do get really weird weather. We have weird paranormal stuff. We have crazy stuff. So you were right, Connie, about the weather. Like last winter, and I know I probably went on and on about it, we had an incredible winter here. It was warm. We got very little snow. This winter has been all over the place. We had that crazy fog everybody had around the world. We had rain Christmas Day. I will be 60 in August, and I do not remember it ever raining on Christmas Day. Then it got bitter, bitter cold. We have more snow than we know what to do with. Like, I got a picture. I'm trying to think who sent it to me from Southern Ontario, one of my friends, and they were saying they don't know where else to put the snow. So you guys did get a lot of snow. I know you're not quite used to the snow that we get, but yeah, there is nowhere else to put snow right now. There's so much. So Kevin, I know you're out in Eastern Canada. He says -2 today with 8-kilometer winds and sun. Last week was snow. Oh, sorry, last week was snow and very cold. And then he said, yep, we got all kinds of weird weather, rain, no snow, then snow, LOL. Yes, so I'm looking forward to the warm weather, definitely. Hi, Joanna Garfey McNally. I see you over on Instagram now. Thanks for popping in. And we got a whole bunch of people popping in. So if you're just here, I'm going to type this, welcome, so people know, because things have been quiet on here, probably because you guys are probably wondering if I was live or not. So for those of you that just tuned in, Last week we were supposed to have Carmen Turner shot on, and something had come up very unexpected at the last moment, and I really was not feeling well, so that's why you guys got a replay of one of her. I think it was her first show that she was on, and a lot of you hadn't seen her from the first show, so that's why I put that replay on. And tonight we were supposed to have Iona Mead from the UK. She was on a couple months ago, and unfortunately she wasn't able to make it, and I thought, no, I am not putting a replay on again. So that's why we're doing the show together. So I wanted to ask you guys got any spooky, crazy, weird stuff going on? Because I am telling you, like I said, where we live in Thunder Bay, we have a very big First Nations population, which is not unusual, I know, for North America, but we do really, like, we even have some of the landmarks in the city, and I've talked about it before, the sleeping giant, and there is a whole legend behind it. There's the world's largest untouched silver mine here that supposedly is guarded by the sleeping giant, or I've heard it called the legend of Nanabiju, the legend of Gitchagumi, and it's intertwined with the legend on the south side of the city, outside the city, with Kekabeka Falls, and it's called Little Niagara of the North. They're pretty interesting legends behind these stories. We also have every kind of paranormal activity you could think of. We have, so I'm just going to read Angela's comment. Last week we had a pinch of snow and a bunch of crappy ice with the 20s overnight temps. Today we are 65 degrees and expect it to go up to 72 degrees tomorrow. Roller coaster here in central North Carolina. I haven't talked to Dave this week, so those of you who don't know, most of you that are here, I know in the chat, don't know who Dave is, but David Hansel lives in North Carolina as well, and he's my co-host on Thursday nights for The Thing at the Foot of the Bed at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, y'all in the almost, well, I call it the South, I guess, North Carolina. You guys are all getting much warmer, lovelier weather. So, yeah, I was looking. I hadn't watched Nuke's Top 5 in a while. We watched some of the videos on last Thursday, but they still had a few more videos. What do you guys think? Do you want to talk about some of the stuff that was on there, or do you guys have some questions for me or comments? I always put, you guys want to do some readings, whatever you want to do. This is for you guys just to hang out together, because I don't get to do it very often with guests, right? The show is always about, obviously the guest that's on, not about me. So I don't know why every time I open YouTube on my computer, it always seems to go to this guy, and I don't watch him, Ishmael Perez, and the particular video, Super Soldier Talk, Ishmael Perez, Radiant Guardian Ultra Soldier. I have no idea why it opens here, but it does. Okay, let's see. I'm going to type this in here. Nukes Top 5. He might even have a new video that I haven't watched. He's been cranking those videos out there, and I'm not really watching anything too deep lately. Oh God, that looked pretty gross. Whatever it was, Phasmagoria called or something. Let's see. Actually, I haven't seen this one. Do you guys want to take a look at this one? It's top 20 scary TikTok videos of the year. Or let me go into the video playlist here. These are just posted. So let's see what he's got, if he's got anything new. I haven't even been over to Bazaar Bub. Or 10 scary videos that will make, like I said, this last video was really interesting. Hang on, I'm going to at least, yes, of course, it's got a commercial. It always has a commercial. So just give me a sec, guys. I can't see your comments. So I'm going to have to skip this in 1 sec here. Anytime now, skip. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'll pause that and see what you guys are up to. What do you say? You're open for whatever tonight, Julie. Kevin says, weird energy at work, things moving that should not move and such, LOL. And even at home, been seeing some interesting spiritual activity at night. Just pass her through 3 shadow. I think are you meaning to type beings? 3 shadow. I'll put your comment up here, Kevin. I don't know if it'll put it all up there, but I don't know if that's supposed to be beings, maybe 3 shadow beings floated through. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. And the other night, and the cat's seen it too. Interesting. I have had some interesting activity here, but not spooky, scary stuff. It's been my son, and it's not me with wishful thinking. I can tell you, for example, you guys, and they're actually coming on, I think is it the beginning of June? You guys love them. You may not remember, but they're the ladies I work with very closely behind the scenes. Again, Leanne Clark and Debbie A. Anderson. And while we were talking, because we get together and meet at least every 2 weeks, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And we were just ending up, 3 hours went by in no time. And I forgot what we were talking, something about my son Justin. And Debbie showed us live on the video. She had these candles that you control. They weren't a real flame, obviously, with a remote control. And she was showing us from standing back that as soon as we started talking about him, the one candle went on. It went on, and then it went off. It went on. It went off. She showed us where the remote was. She wasn't touching it. Then the camera went off, and then all of a sudden it went back on whenever we kind of said his name. And I've had many things like that happen. Other people have had things like that happen. So yeah, he's letting us know he's hanging out, he's around. Yeah, definitely. So well, not that I wanted, I'll knock on wood. I haven't, don't really want anything spooky. Mind you, we did talk about on Robert Morningside's podcast yesterday, and I hadn't brought any pictures or anything because I didn't know we were going to be talking about the paranormal. And Kevin says, "Oh, that is so cool," or "Oh, you wouldn't believe some of the things that have happened." But and I can tell you in a minute, but I was just going to say that on Robert's show, he wanted to know more about our paranormal stuff. And so I was telling him about a lot of the stuff, but to try and get into it. And the pictures, like I sent him some of the pictures that we released to the public, the EVPs from Jason Bland's Paranormal Soup, live on Sunday nights, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. Always will plug Jason. He helped me so many times, especially in the beginning of all this paranormal when I wasn't looking for it and it was happening. And then the episode from Paranormal Survivor. So we got into talking because he wanted to talk more about ghosts. And Robert's had some interesting experiences. How I met him was through a mutual friend named Jaffe Ryder, who has a private, I think it's called the Pirate Radio Network. He was very mysterious. All he'd ever tell me, I don't know how he found me, years ago, that he was an expat Canadian living in South Korea. His wife is Korean. He would never, that's not his real name. And he would never go on camera. And then I found out over the last couple of months, he's been going on camera. So I may have him on in the probably around the summertime. So we'll see. He's an interesting thing. So anyways, Robert has had some really strange, weird experiences when it comes to ufology, ghosts, things like that. So Kevin, you said so Justin, you're talking about, I imagine, he seems to love listening to you when you go live. Well, you know what? I'm very, very close to both of my sons. I always have been. And like I was telling somebody recently, I had this bottle, so on this side of the bed, and there's only a space about this big between this and the dresser. And I think I bought this nail polish like years ago one summer. It's never been open. It's not even out. Like I think it's in my box of nail polish. And it always seems before I go live, not tonight, but a lot of times when these things have happened is before I go live. And actually, I think this was in the morning. I got up one morning. This was a couple of weeks ago. And as I was about to walk out the door, something caught the corner of my eye and I looked. Standing upright on the floor, I swear to God on this, was that bottle, full bottle of fluorescent orange. It was like that beautiful kind of fluorescent orange color from back in the 80s, kind of. It was sitting there, standing upright on the floor between the dresser and the bed. There was no way that could have gotten there. Then another time, this is one of the first shows I had done afterwards. It was a Thursday night before we went live, David and I. And my dog, Emmy, has a big pillow bed because she'd take up too much of the bed if she slept with me at the end of the bed. And I was moving it for her. And as I moved it, my son always slept with this old pair of headphones that were cut off because his hearing was so sensitive. But he had a really cute little, those little pill boxes that pop open and they'd have a lid and everything. And it was split up the middle. So he'd keep one on one side and one on the other. I looked down and there's one of his headphones sitting there. His box was still on his bedside table. It wasn't open. I don't know how it happened. My neighbor next door, her almost 9-year-old son and him were buddies and very close. She keeps finding dimes all over the place that aren't supposed to be there. I think I did talk about the earbuds. Yeah, Kevin. Like there's been all kinds of things. I'm positive I have his door closed now because the cat decided to go and wreak havoc in there. But when I had the door open, I'm positive I seen him sitting on the floor where he would have been sitting playing his video games. My partner, who's still a huge skeptic, I always joke and say the paranormal never happens unless it happens to you, meaning him. I'm just being a smart aleck, that's all. But that's how much of a skeptic he is. He's positive he heard him because you guys have probably heard him sometimes during when I would be live because he's yelling and laughing and having fun at his games. He heard him. I have heard him. I mean, I could go on and on. There's been so many things, and it's not just with me. So he's definitely around, definitely, which is cool in a way because you guys have heard me say so many times that our loved ones never leave us ever, and they don't, and they're not limited by a physical body. So they can be in so many places at once. And I've always told people when I work with them, whether it's been a mediumship reading, teaching, whatever, that every time you think of your loved one, they're already there. Every time you have a special occasion and you think, oh my gosh, I wish my loved one could be there, they are there. They're there. They experience it. They're there with you, but just in spirit, right? So that's the cool thing about it. Plus, we're going to see, I truly believe we will see all of our loved ones again. And even before I began this path many years ago, just even working in palliative care, right at the end, people would talk about their loved ones that they could see, and then you'll hear people that are skeptics saying, oh, they're just hallucinating. No, I don't think they're hallucinating. You go back to, I think it's 1905, and there was a doctor, God knows how he did it. But he had, I believe, 7 patients that were near transitioning, as I say, leaving this earth and going back home. And he had the beds on a scale. So he had their weight just while they were alive and right after they passed. And I believe he would say there was a 30 to 40 gram difference always. Why would there be a 30 gram difference right after people pass away? I have seen there's videos out there of, there's one in particular that comes to mind right now. There apparently was a very bad accident and it was in the US and it's called life flight. I know those that live in the US in particular will know about it, but paramedics and usually critical care nurse would, come to the accident via helicopter, get the patient to take them back to the hospital the quickest and easiest. And in one in particular, I don't know if they were videoing it or what, but was a video. And people have taken screenshots too. As they started to lift up in the air, very sadly, the patient passed away. And you see this most incredible silvery white mist going up from the top of the helicopter. So can't make that stuff up, especially, again, nowadays you have to be so, you have to debunk it, right? With AI and deep fakes and things like that. But especially when you go back to old days of, you had to send your roll of film in to get developed for a week and a half to 2 weeks or what have you. Those are pretty difficult to manipulate versus today's technology. So here, I'm rambling away here. I'm surprised you guys, my voice is holding out. I'm so happy. Okay. I can't remember what one this is. We'll do a couple nukes top 5, you guys. Let's talk about them. And I always do this and I haven't got it set up. Sorry, guys. I always want to make the screen big and then I realize, oh crap, I haven't got it, bringing it to the stage. So give me a second here. There we go. Sometimes it pops up right away, sometimes it doesn't. So let me see where we're at. Oh yeah, it did. It always, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. So this is Nuke's Top 5 on YouTube's latest video. And I forget what this one was about. Oh, I gotta put the volume back on. Hang on. Okay, let's see.
By the YouTube channel / podcast, Haunted City Studios. So, a woman...
Give me 1 sec. I'll put it back a little bit to start it. Okay, I think it'll start about here. Let's see. Boy,
frightful photo bombs. This next weird story was discovered by the YouTube channel / podcast, Haunted City Studios. So, a woman named Vernice posts on Facebook that she's been having some very odd experiences and thinks that some sort of spirit or entity has attached itself to her and her youngest daughter. Vernice says that recently when she takes a photo of her daughter, the pictures often come out very strange and disturbing. Vernice posted a few pictures that definitely make her point. First up, her sister, but she looks like this.
Oh my.
That's not right.
Oh my gosh.
The daughter's face looks like a horror special effect.
It really does.
It looks like a mask.
Right.
Deep set dark eyes, very pale skin. It's unsettling to look at because you're trying to make a normal face out of it and you just can't.
No.
As mentioned, for some odd reason in this photo, Bernice's daughter's face just, well, it doesn't look like a face.
Nope.
Bernice posted another photo she took of her young daughter crouching on the bed.
Oh my.
Nope. That's
Look at her
really,
face, though. Here's
Right.
the thing.
Really weird.
Here's the thing. Look, what is that? Like,
This child might be possessed. Like, for
Yeah.
real.
It is very upsetting to look at this and think it could be anything like that.
yeah.
Now, if this is some dark spiritual attachment appearing in Bernice's photos, then it's not just limited to her daughter. When Bernice receives a speeding ticket in the mail from an automatic traffic camera,
That's
something
just crazy.
odd shows up in that photo, too.
That's insane.
Yeah.
There's a figure sitting next to her. It's very clear. And it actually, when I first saw it, I thought it was an old woman.
That's what I thought. That's what I still
But
think.
then the more I look at it, the more I see kind of classic depictions of, big head, small neck kind of entity.
I think there's two people in there. One's living, one's not.
Something with an abnormally large distorted head seems to be sitting in the passenger seat, right next to Bernice. So just what do you think is going on in all of Bernice's photos lately, even in pictures that she didn't take herself? Let me know what you think.
So what did you guys think of that? That was pretty creepy. The one thing I'd like to say, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, I don't think a child is possessed. Is there somebody maybe around them? Could there be maybe a bit of an attachment? Possibly, I guess. Angela West says, yikes. So I, in my heart of hearts, find it very hard to believe that a young child, now again, we don't know how old this child is, but it sounds like she's not that old. She's not a toddler or preschooler, but she's certainly not a tween or teenager. Most children are, especially the younger they are pure love, right? Live in the moment. Their work is play. That's not a hospitable host to me, to have something possess another human being, or even really attach. Could it be drawn to them? And then we have to look at this too. Now, this, again, as Dave and I usually say on Thursday nights, yeah, you'd have to dig deeper. But the thing is, how do we know, first of all, that in the car, that looked very grandmotherly to me, that face. It did not look really super spooky, scary. And yes, that was creepy, that picture of her daughter on the bed, right? And in the swimming pool. But we can't necessarily just jump to things like, at least I feel this way, that what the girl had said, the kid's possessed. I don't think so. How do we not know that maybe there's a spirit in their home that needs help? So it's manifesting the energy to show up in these pictures or whatever it may be, right? That picture in the bed was creepy, Angela. I will agree with you. Yikes. Roger Garza Sr., hola dear. And Angela, I'm going to go up a few comments. Hang on. Roger, this is posted in the thing at the foot of the bed as well, because we did some of the videos on Thursday in the Facebook group. It's Nuke's Top 5 on YouTube. And so I'm going to go back a bit. So Kevin says, at first, the passenger looked like a 30-ish woman. Then at the end, demonic. And the girl looked normal to me. I don't know. The limbs looked a little creepy. But then again, we don't know, right? Like, was she jumping on the bed? I think it was just the way she was. To me, it almost seemed like she was backwards, if you will, like a crab walk with the hair. But I don't think so. I think it was her on all fours. It was just distorted. You know what? If you can, Kev, check it out in the Facebook group or YouTube. And you'll see what I'm talking about, because it was really hard to see from a little tiny screen. So, and Angela says, I think attachment, not possession. I agree. And then Kevin says, and the pool, I cannot see clear. And you just said, yeah, just the way she bent over. So, I mean, I know in movies, they like us to think that children can be possessed, right back to the movie, even Damien. But to me, if we break everything down to energy and frequency, and what I was talking about earlier, and about us being almost God, what was the word I used? Basically, a frequency or a radio transistor radio, tuning into a radio station by the energy that you put out. And that is one thing that really helped me in my previous home, because I could never find somebody to help us. Every time we did, they got sick, their loved one got sick, they got pulled in a different direction. Something always happened, right? But the one thing that really, really helped me was really digging into, because I hated to hear this all the time. You got to raise your vibration. I used to say, what the heck is that? So I really dug into it. And then it made a lot of sense about like attracts like energy on this planet. So if you're having these negative entities or negative energy, and I was starting to say this and got off track on Robert Morningside's show. He had asked me to repeat the name of the quote unquote demon that gave me its name in a dream many years ago when all this activity started. And I had said to him, I'm not afraid of the name. I just refuse to give it more energy or power. I did tell him, though, on air what it rhymed with. I'm not afraid of it. But I've had so many people contact me over the years and want to know what the name is. Tell me the name. Tell me the name. Because people, I've said to so many people off air in particular, you do not want to have that type of interaction. And you, as one tiny little puny human, I'm sorry, but that's what we are. And something that comes from another dimension and with that much negative energy, that you're nothing to it. And it's going to lie to you, and it's going to manipulate you, and it's going to go after things you can't control, like your loved ones or your money, like finances or your health or things like that. It doesn't answer to you. I had this conversation actually with somebody at that paranormal conference in October. I was very surprised with the amount of people. And again, I wasn't seeking them out, but through conversations that actually work with demonic forces and strictly demonic forces. And one in particular with one of the females. And she had asked me about her paranormal experience and what have you. And I was telling her, and she's going, oh my God, that's so cool. That's so awesome. She wasn't from our city. She had flown in from Ottawa. And I said, no, it wasn't awesome. And it wasn't cool. It was not fun at all to live through. And this is when she started telling me all this stuff about demons and that they're misunderstood and blah, 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 blah. So the two people in particular, I had in-depth conversations. I asked both of them, what price did you pay? What do you mean price? And we got into a discussion about dark magic and black magic and the price that can cost someone to work or use those type of spells, especially against another human being or living being, or hurt someone with it. And I had said to this girl in particular, she goes, they didn't want anything. They have no use for our souls. They have no use for whatever. So I said, okay. I said, that's okay. That's what you believe. But I said, let's talk about angels. I said, angels are God's messengers, and they have agreed to be here through creation, and nothing but pure love and light, and here to help humanity and human beings. I said, you've just said to me that demons have no use for our souls, or anything like that, and that these little minions, I'll call them, that you're working with, and they help you with so much. Why would they do it? What are you giving them that they're doing this out of pure love and light? No. And I said, they're going to ask for something from you. You don't believe they want your soul or anything like that. You're entitled to that belief. But when you come from something that negative and semantics, you can call it demons, you can call it negative entities, you can call it negative, whatever you want. They're not going to be doing it out of the goodness of their heart. There is something they either want from you, I believe, or that they will get from you. So, and then Kevin says, yeah, I would not share the name with Ease either. Well, it wasn't even so much about Ease. These are people that I could tell were just utterly fascinated by it and wanted to kind of play with it. Like to me, that would be like giving a butane torch to a small child because they're fascinated by fire. Here you go, have at it. It's like, no, the name doesn't add anything more to the story. And why do you need to know it so desperately? And again, it doesn't come from a place of fear. It's just everything is energy. So no, I'm not going to be speaking that name with ease and whatever. I don't speak it now. I don't write it. So I certainly would not be putting it out there in that way. And Roger says, I totally agree. Leave well enough alone. And then Kevin says, there is nothing misunderstood if they're scratching you or tossing you across the room, right? Yeah. My speech was cut very short 5 minutes before I went live. I was supposed to have an hour to an hour and a half to speak. And then I had 5 minutes that my talk was not what it was supposed to be. The pictures that I used, slides, were all screwed up. So it was kind of fly by the moment, have 20 to barely 25 minutes to be able to speak. So otherwise I would have got more in depth to it. But she spoke to me afterwards about this. And I didn't come from a place of judgment. I didn't come from a place of, oh yeah, we'll just wait. I heard her out, but I did give back to her the words she had basically served to me about how incredible they are, and they're purely misunderstood and what have you. And I could tell the wheels in her head were spinning. And I had to get back to my table because there were people there because we had merge tables. But it really surprised me, I guess. And again, not from a place of fear, but just from the fact that this is what you choose to work with. Now, everybody does it, right? You can be in service to self or service to others. We have that choice. We have free will. We can do what we wish here. Now, again, with that in mind, speaking, there are laws and there are consequences, say we break the law or something like that. So we have free will. Like, you can make that choice. But to me, it just really felt like when I had said to her, my partner was from 15 feet across the kitchen, she was just marveling. She had this huge smile on her face and how cool that would be. No, it wasn't cool, but to her, it was. So Kevin says, yeah, that is what I mean. It feels like sending it to them. Yeah, exactly. Plus, like, why do you want to know this so badly? I don't know you from a hole in the ground. No. Like, if it added something to the story, I guess, but it didn't. So why do you need to know? Angela says, the old house I lived in with my ex-husband was haunted and made life exhausting. I hear you. Frustrating and scary at times. I believe the ex had a nasty spirit attached to him to live vicariously through him, especially since I didn't even read it. I already knew you were going to say that when I just read it, Angela, especially since he was an alcoholic, and that can very much happen. Same as people that have issues with drugs, especially if they're an addict, right? Believe me, that's how you can end up getting an attachment. And I think you said it beautifully, and thank you for sharing, I'm sure, which was one of the most difficult situations I'm sure you've ever lived through, Angela. And again, I'm not saying making a judgment, it's just from what you've shared here, and I appreciate you sharing that. But you've got something that's earthbound here. It doesn't have to be a demon, it could be a human being, and they choose not to transition, as I call it, back home. That's how we end up with quote unquote ghosts, right? And there's a variety of reasons for why we as a soul energy choose to stay earthbound. Sometimes it's very often that maybe they were an alcoholic, maybe they were a drug addict, and there are attachments that will live vicariously through another human being because they can't physically get the substance they're addicted to. So they will choose to attach to a living being that will then give them that energetic experience. And then you said it made raising a child and life in general a total chaotic mess. I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry. Hang on, someone's messaging me here. I don't know what. Hang on one sec. Oh, great. Hang on. I'm going to message someone. They're sometimes in the chat here. I'm going to say, just live right now. And hang on. They just received one of the books I usually recommend, which is The Secret Language of Your Body. Love that book. Love that book. You guys have heard me talk about it many times. I've shown it many times. It's very, very, I think it's one of the best healing books out there. And again, it has to resonate with you. But to be able to even work on yourself on your own healing journey, and it goes through all body systems, different types of illnesses, and she walks you through the process about how to do it. And again, I'm very sorry, Angela, for what you've gone through. I shouldn't say I can't imagine. I have literally been around. I am not an alcoholic, but I have been surrounded by alcoholism my entire life. Hi, Debbie Schmoley. Welcome. So you guys have got time maybe for one more clip. And if you guys want to see the video, if you're not, I know it's posted already because I shared it last Thursday. We didn't get through the whole video, but it's in the thing at the foot of the bed with Lorilei, Potvin, and David Hansel. It's Noob's Top 5 latest video on YouTube. So hang on. And we are going through some of the videos we didn't cover because I thought this one was really good. Like he doesn't usually have all of them that are pretty decent, and this one was. Of course, you brought it to the stage. So hang on. Hopefully, we'll see. I bet she's going to get a commercial. Oh, we did.
The cabin in the woods. A man in Mexico named Antonio has a business where he builds, sells, and rents cabins in Mazamitla, Jalisco, Mexico. Late one night, he is working all alone outside an empty old cabin. Suddenly, he notices a strange flickering light coming from one of the windows. He pulls out his phone and records as he goes to check. And what he sees makes his blood run cold.
I didn't see it at first, so he slows it down. Of course, now we got a commercial. Hang on, guys. I knew it would be. We'll mute it. Of course, now I can unmute it. Give me a sec. Unmute. Skip. There we go.
Now, Antonio is completely alone. There's not supposed to be anyone inside the cabin. But as he watches in terror, he sees someone in the flickering light, slowly approaching the window as if to look out at him. And whoever this is has no discernible features and looks almost like a shadow even in the bright flickering light. Antonio gathers his courage and goes inside the cabin to investigate.
The music doesn't help. He's brave. I wouldn't have went up there. I would have went up, not by myself. Ooh, just seen something fly by the camera. Could have been a bug.
Antonio is a bit nervous as he checks through the rooms, but the entire cabin is completely empty. Now, it should be noted that Antonio usually only uses his social media for his business, either to display properties he's worked on or cabins that he is renting. This is the only supernatural video that Antonio has ever posted. So, what do you think? Just who or what is this?
Ew, that's
From the shadows.
we're gonna do one more.
This next video was sent in by Nuke's Top 5 viewers Tuva and Sunniva from Norway. So Tuva says that she and her family moved into a new apartment in May of last year. And before this, they had never experienced anything paranormal. In fact, Tuva says that she and her sister Sunniva are very much skeptics. Or at least they were.
They were.
Until this happened.
This is hard
Okej, house
to
tour.
see.
Så här är rummet mitt. Där står jag, där står Tuva. Ut här
This
är
is the living
stua.
room.
Och det här
And this is that's what she says.
Did you see it? As Sunniva is recording a video house tour for a friend, there is something black and weird just standing in front of the apartment door.
It's
The
hard
figure
to
is so
see.
shadowy that it blends right into the darkness, but Sunniva says that she could easily see it with her naked eye. Sunniva lets out a frightened gasp and jerks her phone back so hard that it hits her other hand and knocks out the microphone. Now, when the video is brightened a lot, you can see that whatever this is actually blocks out the light from the peephole in the door. Sister Tuva says that a woman who was a former tenant passed away in the apartment. So could this be her presence still occupying their home? You decide. Unexplained.
We'll save this one for another time, so hang on, guys. That one's hard to see, but I can tell you that you can see it on a phone even if you look at it, but that was creepy. Hi, Heidi Gull. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. So you saw that fly. Yeah, there was a couple times there was something flying by. Now, I'm not saying it's a spirit. I'm not saying it looked more like a bug to me, but it was interesting though, because I almost expected when I was first watching this that I wouldn't have gone up there alone. I just wouldn't have. Because to me, you don't know what the heck that was in the window. That looked like a man to me. So I would have brought people up there with me. But, you know, did it zoom in? Did it zoom out? There's some other videos, on here. Now there's one, maybe Thursday night we'll get a chance to finish this. Because I thought he doesn't usually have a whole video that's actually pretty halfway decent. And it was like all the top 10 videos he had. But there's one where they say it was a djinn. I don't know what this thing was. I'm going to call it a mimic or a shapeshifter. And it kept knocking on his door. And this is in the Middle East. And I kept yelling at the screen, dude, don't open the door. Dude, don't open the door. So that's on there. So maybe we'll take a look at that on Thursday night. You guys, this was so much fun. It always is when we get a chance to hang out together and do this. And, you know who's supposed to come on next week, and he knows this. I will reconfirm with him though, but he should be here. I don't know if you guys remember. I know Julie will know who this is because she's the one that connected me with him. Tom Dongo. He's in his early 80s, but this guy, the first time I talked to him, he was lucky he had friends coming in from out of town because he had told me, I think he said my show, the last time he did it was the 95th show he's ever done. He's been on Coast to Coast AM. He's been on all over the place. He's taught remote viewing. He has the most incredible stories. He lives in Sedona and so knowledgeable about so many things. So we barely scratched the surface because at first I don't think he was going to do the show. And then he got on the phone with me. Like I said, thank gosh, I think it was a Sunday that he had friends in from out of town because we would have talked for like 6 hours. I know we would have. And I adore him. He just sent me a really cool, I know what it was. It was before Paul Hellyer, the Canadian that worked in Department of Defense, I believe, for Canada, but he became a whistleblower for the existence of extraterrestrials. He just sent me the coolest video about one of the speeches he had put out there and what the extraterrestrials had to say and what to teach us. So he's coming on the Angel Rock next week. So you guys, I can't wait. So come with your spooky stuff. We didn't get into Dogman yet with him. He knows about that. Bigfoot, any spooky things you can think about, ask him about it, because this guy's got a story about it, and I adore the ground he walks on. And I have to thank Julie again, because she connected me with him, and he's so cool. I just love him. Otherwise, I'm going to be back on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with David Hansel with the thing at the foot of the bed. You guys don't forget the light. I think it's, what did I say? I told you my brain does not work right now. The Light Gate. I knew it would come back if I kept talking. The Light Gate's coming up right next with Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. Love both of them. They have always an excellent show, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock right now. I'm going to hide this because I don't want to. They'll probably have it streaming across the bottom right afterwards. So I'll do them the favor of pulling it off. But you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock. Leanne Clark, my BFF, and I are working on a spirituality course that we're breaking into components. And I'm hoping we are going to be able to start that towards the end of May. I just left her a message today, and she's been working on it. We've been talking about it, working on it, but really getting down into the nitty gritty. I know she's done some stuff already with crystals. It'll be a component. And I call Leanne the Crystal Wizardress. You can check her out on the crystalarchitect.com. Sorry, not .com, the Crystal Architect on Instagram and Facebook. Anyways, when I do, I hope to have a domain name under my name so that it'll be easier to find. In the meantime, like I say, Facebook, or you guys can you can get a hold of me on any social media platforms under the Angel Rock or Lorilei Potvin. I have them everywhere. Also, please don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. I always forget to tell you guys this. Under the video section, if you scroll down, there's a lot of teaching videos. I teach you how to create energy and feel it, and work out for yourself what different colors mean, why gratitude and music and positivity are so important, how to do a one-card oracle card reading. I have another video with my angel board pinned to the top, and I work quite closely, like I've said earlier, with Debbie A. Anderson and Leanne Clark. And Debbie channeled it is a solfeggio tones that any of you can use, plug them in and have a listen, and they work on healing, and they can really help you, especially if you're really stressed or need a little bit of here and there. They're supposed to cover a wide range and gamut of different things in life, and are very healing. That came from spirit. Anyways, I will see you. What else do I want to tell you? Sorry, 2 groups on Facebook: Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual. We have the thing at the foot of the bed with David Hansel and myself, Lorilei Potvin. Dave and I will be going live in there. It's just we've had a lot on our plate since Christmas, and because we are well over 200 people, so we want to thank you. Thank you, Michelle Wilfong, for the excellent job you always do over on TikTok as my mod. Check her out on TikTok. She lives in a haunted apartment and films lots of crazy activity over there, so check her out. And thank you, Angela. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Julie, Kevin. Everybody's saying this, and we really appreciate it. I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for you guys. So love you all. We'll see you on Thursday, and next Monday, same time, same place. Stay tuned for Preston and Dolly coming up next, guys. Much love. Stay spooky.